Salma Hayek sat down for an interview with the Daily Beast, and she endorsed Hillary Clinton. I actually don't know if she just endorsed her in this interview or if she had done it beforehand, and then she was just asked some questions about it. Now, normally we wouldn't be talking about this, but I saw her comments, and I feel the need to respond. I'm compelled here. So she said the following. When they ask all of these people, how would you deal with ISIS? I listen to them respond, and I tremble. Except when Hillary Clinton talks. The only person that is truly respected by all the other countries is her. Okay, so here's reason number one why Salma Hayek is supporting Hillary Clinton. I don't even know what that means. Like, oh, all the other countries support her. Which countries? Literally every country on the planet? That ain't true. And furthermore, the kind of respect that she has from, say, Israel, is that the kind of respect that she should have? As Netanyahu sees her and says, she'll do anything we want, and she agrees with me on everything. Now, Netanyahu is in the Likud party. It's a right-wing party in Israel. So, okay, if you agree with Netanyahu, and as Hillary does, we'll just admit what you are in that respect and on that issue. You're a right-winger when it comes to Israeli politics, and you agree with Hillary being a right-winger on that issue. And you agree with her being very one-sided in her approach, and let's face it, almost certainly not really going to try to get a peace deal. She couldn't even bring herself to say that the recent slaughter from Netanyahu in Gaza was, quote, disproportionate, when it was up to 80% civilians who were killed in it. I mean, that's totally inexcusable. And also, like Saudi Arabia, yeah, I'm sure they respect her. She's given weapons deals to them. Do you want the respect of Saudi Arabia? I certainly don't. They're currently massacring civilians in Yemen. Over 50% of the casualties are civilians. Also, they have a government that declared all atheists are terrorists. They brutally repress gays and women. You know, they put people to death for sorcery and witchcraft. You want the respect of these people? No. I'm going to pull an FDR here and say, I welcome their hatred. I want them to hate me. So, I don't know what you mean. And, you tremble when other people talk about ISIS, but when Hillary talks, I'm assured. Okay, but then you're just admitting it's all about feelings and emotions, and it's got nothing to do with policy substance. And don't put this on me either. I'm telling you what her words are. I tremble when everybody else talks about ISIS, but when she talks about ISIS, now I feel better. The fuck does that have to do with picking a leader? And then the most important point is, guys, her vote for the Iraq war helped create ISIS. That's an indisputable fact. And you can trace all the lines. We know how it worked. So you toppled Saddam Hussein, the strong man in Iraq. Horrible guy, terrible guy, brutal dictator. But he was the strong man. So you toppled him, and guess what? Something worse came up out of the ruins, namely ISIS. So you toppled Saddam, who was a Ba'athist, a Sunni, and you made the Sunni population disaffected. You put the Shias in power. The Shias repressed the Sunnis. And then, of course, you had a situation where religious fundamentalists teamed up with former Saddam Baathists to create ISIS. And then that's how they were able to get so much territorial success, is all of Saddam's former generals and former leaders in the Ba'athist party teamed up with ISIS, and they took more and more territory. You don't topple Saddam. There's no allegiance between the fundamentalists and the Ba'athists. ISIS certainly does not exist in the same way that it exists today. It might exist, but in no way does it have the same numbers, and in no way do they have the same territorial success. So ironically, you're praising somebody here who can stop you from trembling on foreign policy and stop you from trembling on ISIS when her Iraq vote helped create ISIS. Okay, so she continues here. Because Clinton's a woman, she's always been in the shadows, operating under the rules of men, and she's navigated beautifully in it. Men are too passionate, and their egos are too stubborn. Okay. If that's not a generalization about men, I don't know what is. Why would you say that? Men are too passionate and their egos are too stubborn. So yeah, she's a good leader. She would be a good leader because she's a woman. How about gender doesn't play into that? Whether it's a female or a male, how about we're all individuals, we're all different, and you can evaluate the leadership skills on a case-by-case basis. Instead, what does she do? Call what it is, man, a sexist generalization, where she says, men are too passionate and their egos are too stubborn. Which men? What the fuck are you talking about? Donald Trump? Sure, I'll give you that. You have a case there. His ego is way too big. No doubt about that. Gonna get no counter-argument from me on that. But Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump, you're gonna lump them in together. You're gonna lump them in together and you're gonna say, quote, men are too passionate and their egos are too stubborn. All men. So you're just generalizing. How pathetic are you? All right. More. She says, Clinton is level-headed. She is kind. She has a heart. She's human. She's smart. But nothing brings her down. They've been trying to put this woman down for 30 years, and she's indestructible. She gets up with grace, and she gets things done with grace, not bullying. There is zero policy substance in that. None. And how ironic that she says, well, she gets things done with grace, not bullying. Right, no bullying, no smear tactics from Hillary and her camp. It's not like they created this whole narrative of Bernie bros of, oh, the supporters of the most liberal senator in the country, a male feminist, sexist. They must be sexist. Yeah, I know. No dirty games from her, no bullying, no smearing. Her entire campaign is based on that. And you just explained why you supported her with zero substance. And this is what's so frustrating to me, is that you have people who, they mean well, they're somewhat liberal, somewhat progressive insofar as they give a shit about policy, which is not much, but they're generally on the right side of stuff. And then when it comes to this election, because the media does such a shitty job educating them, and because they're so fundamentally not curious that they don't research on their own, they end up saying stuff like this and flat out embarrassing themselves. This is embarrassing. I mean, this is embarrassing. Who can give an answer like this? Why do you support that person over that person? I don't know, level-headed, kind, she has a heart, she's human, she's smart, nothing brings her down. What the fuck? It sounds like you're writing a song, not giving reasons for supporting somebody when it comes to policy. And if Bernie Sanders ends up losing, and as of right now, obviously, that's overwhelmingly likely, he's way behind. He really needed to win New York to really have a good shot moving forward. There's many reasons as to why that is. Again, the media not educating people is a big one. The system being biased against him from the beginning, and big money helping Hillary is another thing. But another big reason that we don't talk about enough is these kind of pseudo-liberals who just want to be with the times and cool and with it and support the candidate who makes them feel good and we're on the right side of history, we elected a woman president. But which woman? That matters. That matters. If it's Elizabeth Warren, I'll be fucking right there with you making the arguments. But it's not Elizabeth Warren. It's somebody who lobbied for the TPP 45 times. Somebody who supported NAFTA and almost all the outsourcing deals. Somebody who voted for the Iraq War. Somebody who voted for the Patriot Act. Somebody who takes a tremendous amount of money from Wall Street and then does their bidding. She flipped on the bankruptcy bill, among other bills. She used to be in favor of single payer. Guess what? After she took so much money from the health insurance industry, she flipped, and now she's not in favor of single-payer healthcare. It matters which person we're talking about, which woman we're talking about. Hillary Clinton shouldn't be the one that liberals get behind and progressives line up behind, because guess what? She ain't liberal. She ain't progressive. And you've been duped if you're actively picking her over Bernie Sanders.